Shalom, welcome everybody. This is part two of studying Isaiah 53. We got pretty far last week. We'll probably make it through the rest of it today. If anyone wants to annotate on the screen or raise your hand, here's how you do it. I think we left off in verse 6. This
You
one
just,
right here.
yeah, 6 was the last one I read. You're right.
6 was the last one you read.
Is that six? What number is that there? 7
This
or
one should be 6.
yeah, that should be 6. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
start with that way. It was
yeah.
Kulanu. Yeah, it ended with near Palanu, the last words of the one before.
All right, super. Who would like to read this? Okay, I'll read. Kulanu katzon ta'inu ish ledarko paninu. Vadonai hifgiah bo et avon kulanu. So kulanu. We know this word, right? Its usual form, standalone form, is kol. Its hyphenated form has kamatz katan. It's the most common word with a kamatz katan, kol. But in its suffixed form, it shows up as kul. And then the anu is your pronominal suffix. The dagesh inside of the lamed, what does that tell us?
There's a missing letter.
There's a missing letter. Exactly. This is a geminate root. Kaf lamed lamed. And we don't get to see it in words like this because lamed is the last letter of the word, and dagesh usually doesn't show up in the last letter. And the fact that it's showing up as cool tells us that the original form of the word was this, and one lamed vanished into the other. This pattern is that of a segalit. Words like melech and kodesh and all of those. This is a segalit. It has this u vowel, which turns into an o vowel, much like in the word kodesh. So this word and this word have the same original pattern, but over time they change. Kulanu, all of us, katzon. What is ka?
Like,
Right, but it's not just ka, it's ka. So it's two parts.
K plus ha.
Uh-huh. Ka plus ha. So like the sheep or like the lamb. Exactly. All of us, like the sheep, ta'inu. All right. Does this have a pronominal suffix nu on the end?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's got a yiktol prefix letter right here?
No.
No. Tav is a yiktol prefix letter, but here it's part of the root. What is the root?
Ta'e.
Mm-hmm. Tav, Ain, Yod.
Yod.
And we get to see the Yod. Woohoo! We don't always get to see the root letter Yod. If we had to look this up in a dictionary, we would look under Ta'ah, where the Yod is missing, but there's a vowel hey at the end. Ta'ah. He erred, or he went astray. Ta'inu, we went astray. Ish ledarko, a man to his dark.
Way.
What is a dark?
It's a
There-
path or a way.
It's the original form of the word derech. Just like kulanu shows you the original pattern, so also darko shows you the original pattern. And over time, it turned into derech. That's the form that we expect to see, and the one we would look up in the dictionary. I almost said Bible.
And
Well,
that's
it's in
a
the Bible too.
segalit.
Yeah, that's a segalit too. Exactly. Ish ledarko haninu. A man to his way, or his own way, haninu. Earlier, I asked if this was a pronominal suffix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
think you guys said yes, but that's actually not, is it?
Mm.
It's a katal suffix.
Yeah.
It's a suffix. It's a suffix. Fine, it's a suffix. But technically, there's a difference. If it's a pronominal suffix, then that means it attaches to it turns it into some kind of an object, right? Like kulanu is a pronominal suffix. It's all of us. If you added a pronominal suffix to a verb, then it has to be the object of the verb. Somebody did something to the object. But here, that's a katal suffix. It actually tells us who the subject is.
Mhm.
So no, it's a katal suffix.
We.
In this verb, what did we do? Hey, nun, yod. We
Turn.
panam.
Turn.
We faced a certain direction. It's the same root as pana, like panim. We faced each man to his own way, or we turned each man to his own way. Vadonai hifgia bo. What? And the Lord, or Hashem, hifgia. What pattern or binyan of a word is this?
We
You
feel.
feel.
You feel. What is the root paga?
Well, um, I looked it up. It says to lay upon or to touch.
Yeah,
I think
touch
it's,
or touch in the sense of touching gently or touching striking.
mhm.
So
Mhm.
hifgia caused touching or striking upon him because it's he feel it's caused, right? How? With what? Et avon hulanu. He struck in him the iniquity of all of us.
Mhm.
All right. Are we still talking about who is the O in the bow? Right there's the $1 million question. If like Orthodoxy would have us believe that the servant is referring to Israel, then we have a problem. How is it that Israel will be touched with the iniquity of all of Israel? Right? It would make more sense that this is referring to an individual, and in fact, it does ultimately become in the Midrash, it becomes a messianic passage,
Mm.
but most Orthodox don't like to mention that. They'll say, no, no, Isaiah 53 is talking about Israel. Well, your Midrash from thousands of years, well, 15 or so hundred years ago, or possibly more, says otherwise. Granted, the Midrash does say that the servant is referring to Israel 2 times, and it says it refers to Messiah 1 time. So it does refer to Messiah, at least in certain conditions. So that's really cool. Questions
Can I
about this
make an
verse?
The
Observation?
construct.
Cheryl, what do you mean construct?
Avon kulanu.
Hmm.
It will be a direct object then, but avon kulanu.
Right.
So kulanu would be possessive. So it's all definite.
Right,
The
exactly. All of us is definite, so therefore avon also has to be definite. And
Mhm.
the absolute form would be avon, and in construct it drops to a shva.
Okay. Thank you.
And let's see, Annie, did you say something?
Oh no, I
Oh,
think
I
maybe Timothy said something.
go ahead. Tim-
I did. I was making
Oh,
an
Tim, go ahead.
observation.
Uh-huh.
The bow would have been written in 3MP as opposed to 3MS if it was all Israel, wouldn't it?
Yes, but the question here is that throughout Isaiah, we get to see the word the servant of the Lord or his servant or something like that over and over and over again. And in most of the cases in Isaiah, it explicitly calls God's servant Israel. So if we're still talking about the servant of God, Bo is expected because servant is singular.
Mhm.
Even if it refers to Israel, that would be a collective singular. So the question is this referring to the servant or is this referring to something else? And if it is referring to the servant, is it still referring to collective Israel or is it referring to someone else? That's kind of the heart of the debate, I guess. Christianity would say that this bow is referring to God's servant, but it's referring to the messianic individual upon whom the sins of all of us are laying or laid. I guess laid would be the word. Laying is something else. All right. Next reader, who wants to read? I read the first one. Who wants to read first?
I'll read.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay. Oops. ניגש, והוא נענה ולא יפתח פיו. כסה לטבח יובל, וכרחל לפני גוזזיה נעלמה ולא יפתח פיו. Wow.
Excellent reading. Gash. V'hu na'aneh. And there's going to be something of a pause right here because we've got a ve and followed by a new verb. Velo yiftach piv. That gives us another pause. Kaseh, there's another like the, as a, or as the. Say, lamb. Latevach, yuval. Uchrachel. There's another little pause right there. Lifnei gozeha ne'elam.
I said that wrong.
That's all right. Velo yiftach piv. So we've got this velo yiftach piv 2 times. Okay, nigash appears in the passive. Is this passive?
It's Nifal, isn't it?
Is that nigash or nigas?
It's nigas. Thank you. Sin is never. So what's the root nagas? Is it? I guess it is. It has to be nifal from the root nagas. So we'd have to look up and see what does the root nagas mean. Here it has the translation oppressed. I'm not sure that this. You know what? Let me see. Do I have a? See if I can look it up. Is this the right? I hope this is the right one. Oops. Nagas. Okay, there's the nagash. We don't care about that one. Nagas, to press, drive, or exact, and it shows up 23 times in the Bible.
Yes.
Okay. See, where does it show up? Oh, no. It only shows up 7 times in the Bible. If you ignore the scene dot, it shows up more often. Okay, so 3 times it shows up in 1 Samuel and Isaiah, and 1 time in 2 Kings. You can't see that, and I can't scroll. Bummer. All right, well, take my word on. And okay, so it does show up a few times in the Bible. Great. He was oppressed, 3ms Nifal. Nifal, the noon on the front is the Nifal. The missing root letter in the Gimel is your root letter. Vehu na'aneh. What binyan is that?
I think it's the same.
Nifal.
Nifal.
So what
Nifal.
is the root? Ein noon missing yod.
There's no dagesh.
Right.
Yeah. But because it's a guttural.
Right.
So the vowel would change under it.
Okay, so this is our Nifal noon.
Mhm.
He is that's a 3ms form. Na'aneh. from the root Ein Nun Yod, which either means to answer or to afflict. So if it's answering, he was answered. Well, that doesn't make sense. He was answered how? Who would they say? But na'ane as affliction, that makes more sense.
Mhm.
He was afflicted because that would go with nigas.
Mm.
Velo yiftach piv. This would be a good time to have a contrasting conjunction, like, however, he will not or he did not open his mouth. See how it's in the yiktol?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. Um, could we ask, like, could we ask the different translations of Yiktor? Because it's not always future, I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you when I saw that.
It would be a good idea to do that for both katal and yiktol, because we could read this as something like he has been oppressed and he has been afflicted, and yet he will not open his mouth,
Hmm.
right? And then all of a sudden it sounds prophetic.
Mhm.
But if we say he didn't get oppressed and he wasn't afflicted, or he was afflicted, he was oppressed, uh, and yet he didn't yet open his mouth. Well, we're in the 21st century looking back at a fulfilled prophecy, but according to Isaiah, he's looking at someone who's being oppressed and afflicted and still to come in the future, and yet he will not open his mouth. So your question is, how do we translate katals and yiktols? It's a big mess because of the difference between the absolute tense system in English versus the relative tense system in Hebrew. In Hebrew, katal means it's a completed action relative to some point in time, and yiktol means it's an incompleted action relative to some point in time. What is that some point in time? Well, if you don't have anything to go off of, you're supposed to go off of the previous verb. But if you can have some sort of a reference point, like, oh, Isaiah's a prophet, he's looking into the future, then you can get your reference point. Who in the past was oppressed and afflicted, and yet in the future will not open his mouth. So on a timeline, that shows you someone getting afflicted and oppressed. And then here's Isaiah looking forward in time at the point when he will not open his mouth. Um, it's, I guess what I'm trying to say is that Hebrew tense is much more flexible than that of English. And so what you're using as your antecedent or your reference point or even your theology will affect your translation.
So I have a question.
Okay.
No, can you put your little diagram back, please? Yes. So uh the way you have it drawn with Isaiah coming after was oppressed, was afflicted. So that would be translated with was. But if you translate it, he has been afflicted and oppressed, then wouldn't those two X's come after Isaiah?
No, because
No.
okay, so this is an English question, but has been says something happened in the past, but it's important to right now. Has he been to Israel before? Have you eaten yet? Why would I ask questions with has or have? Because it's important to what I'm about to say. So that's just that's a convention in English that we use. Something happened in the past, but it's important to right now, so I'm asking it in that way. Like if I say, "Did you go to Israel?" I'm thinking of one particular point in time in the past where I thought you were supposed to go to Israel, and I'm wondering if you did. But if I say, "Have you been to Israel?" Now I'm asking, did it happen in the past at any point? Because I want to talk about it now. And in the
But
same
in
thing,
Isaiah's time, the well, Messiah had not come. But if Israel feels as though it's the servant Israel, I guess he has come.
Um, Another way to look at it is that Isaiah is standing here in the past,
Mm,
prophetically transported into the future in this vision.
mm,
Now, in the vision, he sees what has happened and what will yet happen. Look, it's possible. There are lots of things possible. And especially when it comes to prophetic messages, you can't be 100% certain what's future and what's past. Or there's also the possibility of something like um, a, a okay, an Orthodox once read a passage about the one who will come. Um, I'm trying to remember. I guess it's in Malachi. Maybe it's near the end of Malachi where it talks about the one who will come, like before the great and terrible day of the Lord. And
Refiner's fire and fuller's soap.
it simply says Ba. And I guess most people, when they read this, they read it as a participle, the one who is coming. But what is equally possible is a Catal 3MS, the one who came. And in that moment, the reader went, oh, what if this person has already come? And as it happens, they were affirmed in their belief that the Messiah had already come. And anyway, it's just what I'm highlighting is the ability to read a single text multiple ways.
mm,
And let's be honest here, when Hebrew had no vowels,
mhm,
and with Hebrew having a relative tense system, that
mhm.
really does allow for more possible readings than maybe we allow ourselves. I'm not trying to advocate that the Bible says whatever you want it to, but it does, within a certain frame of context or reference, allow for more possible readings, which means more application, more points of application in our lives.
So having said that, no vowels. Is yuftach a word? Or like I'm trying to put yiftach into the past, sounding like the past. In some way, is there any translation of that yikto that we could make past?
Yes. No. No, because hey, tav, chet are they necessarily have to be consonantal letters. If we wanted to make it a katal verb, then what do we do with the chet at the end?
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have chet as if chet is part of the root, then what do we do with the yod at the front? So it has to be some kind of a yiktol, which makes it an incompleted of some kind. But because of the flexibility of a yiktol in prophetic texts, it could be translated past tense, especially if our theology says this individual has already come and he just hadn't come yet in the time of Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
One quick question, Jared. So Nifal Katal, it could be translated as was or has been.
Oh, right. Back to my original point. If especially in narrative texts, we should expect the katal to represent either, you know what, let me make a list down here. We should expect katal verbs to represent some sort of completed action. So that could be a simple past. That could be that could be
they fear they're missing.
a perfect past or a pluperfect or past perfect. Let me give it.
Habitual also, or when you have a habitual past for Qatar.
No, and I'll get to that here in a second. So let me give examples. Simple past, someone did something. In the perfect past, someone has done something. And in the pluperfect, someone had done something. Now, what about the Yiktol? Let me tell you what, I can probably just put a white box over all of this and make a list up on top here. I have, is that it? No, 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 no. Is it this one? No, this one. There we go. And the Yiktol, we expect some sort of an incompleted verb, so that's going to include simple future. It could also represent a perpetual or ongoing action. So that could be a habit, habitual, or a like a general truth. But it could also include some sort of a habit in the past tense. Like when I was a kid, I used to stop by the candy store every day. Well, when I was a kid puts us into the correct context, past, and then having a yiktol following that tells us that we've now jumped into the past and we're looking at an action that continues to be true. So a past iterative could be included in this. So let's look at some examples. Future, I will do something or someone will do something. Habit, someone does this every single day. He goes to the bus stop. He walks to the store. That would be the same for general truth. The early bird gets the worm. Okay, it takes the simple present tense in English. Past iterative would be something that someone used to do or when they were younger that they would do. Now that I've included the word would, Yiktol will also include hypotheticals or subjunctives. So I wish that he were here right now. He's not, but I wish that he were here. That would be a subjunctive. So he were, or hypothetical, if I were a rich man, right?
Yaddy.
Exactly. So these are going to be generally the ways that you can translate katal and yiktol. But like I said, once we get into either poetic or prophetic texts, it becomes more flexible. And it does not help that there used to be two different yiktol forms, one that was future and one that was preterite. What? There used to be a yiktol that was preterite? Yes, there was a yiktol form that was preterite that turned into ultimately the va-yiktol form. The problem is, before va-yiktol was invented, it looked exactly like a yiktol. So in old scriptures, old passages like the Song of the Sea or Job or maybe the blessings of the 12 patriarchs by their father, you will see yiktol forms that are past tense. Why? Because of the originally preterite yiktol. So it does get complicated. So sorry about that, but hopefully that helps answer your question.
Thank you.
Comments on this before we move on?
Does Isaiah do that anywhere? I'm still trying to get that Yiktol into the past.
We should have we should have expected Vayiktol to be fully implemented by the time Isaiah is on the stage.
Okay.
So his use of Yiktol should be limited to these two categories unless he is prophetically taken into the future.
Mhm.
Then it becomes more difficult.
Okay.
And let's see. He will not or did not open. Oh, would what if we translate it as, and yet he would not open his mouth? I don't know. And at any rate, like a lamb, he did not open his mouth. Like a lamb that is to the slaughter, Yuval. What binyan is Yuval?
Passive.
Passive.
It is passive, but which binyan?
Is
Is
it
it who fall?
Hoof. Oh, very good. So we've got the ooh ah. Now for the kicker, what's the root?
Is it Yod Bet Lamed?
Good. I would call it an original Vav Bet Lamed, but if we look it up in the dictionary, it would be under Yod Bet Lamed. What would the he feel look like?
Lehovil.
Mm-hmm. Hovil. Very good. So here you get to see the original Vav Bet Lamed. Uh-huh. And here the Vav combines with the oo sound of hufal or hofal, yuval. He was brought, or he will be brought, or he is brought, like a lamb, kase la teva. I was just thinking about this. I want to look it up now, whether the word zevach and tevach are related.
Slaughter and sacrifice.
Yeah, because remember the mizbeach is the slaughter place, and tavach means to,
Slaughter.
slaughter or butcher, and it's where we get the word mitbach, kitchen. But if both of these come from an original emphatic z sound, then it's possible that in Hebrew it shows up as z, and in Aramaic shows up as th. But
Hmm.
I don't know. Never thought about that before.
Question. Oh, can you put that back?
Yes.
Question. The Hovil, is that Katal?
Yes, this is the Katal form. The three.
And then Yuval.
Mm-hmm. That is a
What?
that is a 3ms yiktol
Yeah, okay, thought so.
of the hufal. So that means if we wanted to put hovil into yiktol, it would become yovil. Yovil. He will bring or cause someone to go along a certain path.
Yeah, so Yovil would be the he feel Yiktal?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. Rachel. Who was Rachel?
Second wife of
That
Jacob.
Rachel?
Mm-hmm. Rachel.
Not
Exactly.
Rachel, Rebecca's mom. Rahel.
Rachel.
Rachel.
Rebecca. Uh,
No, Rebecca was her
Rebecca's
mom.
Rivka.
Rebecca
Sorry.
was Jacob's mom,
Jacob's mom,
Right.
yeah.
and we don't know who Rachel's mom was. Her dad was Laban.
Naughty daddy.
But anyway, you get a lot of people in the Bible who are named after animals. Rachel is one of them.
I yell it.
Mhm.
I yell.
Lif, uh, Rachel, and as a sheep. So this is going to be in parallel with as a lamb. Lifnei gozeha. So here's gazaz, to shear. Yod is plural. Hey is hers. Her shearers. Ne'elam. Is this the same root as olam?
No.
No,
No.
that's with an ayin, of course. So alam here has to do with being quiet. Velo yiftach piv. And he did not, or he opens not his mouth. All right, we ready to move on?
Yes.
Yeah,
All right, who wants to read next?
I can.
Go ahead, Ani.
מעוצר וממשפט לקחה ואת דורו מישורח כי נגזר מארץ חיים מפשע עמי נגלמו.
Lamo. Very good.
למו.
מעוצר וממשפט לוקח. Okay. Do we know a word, atzar?
To stop
Yeah.
or
In modern
rest.
Hebrew, it means to stop. Otzer. What is the pattern of the word otzer?
That's all.
The pattern,
It's a participle.
Oh,
Right?
Participle.
not a participle.
No?
Is
oh,
it a seglet?
It's a
Oh,
seglet. It's a seglet because it's got the stress. Otzer.
it's a noun. It's
It's
a
a
noun.
noun, exactly. And also remember that me has to attach to a noun.
Yeah.
So what is a noun that has something to do with the action of stopping? Well, here they've translated it as oppression. Umi mishpat lukach.
Was taken.
Mishpat is from shafat, judgment. So mishpat is righteous judgment. And from, or because of, or no, and from righteous judgment, lukach. What
Why
binyan?
do you say why do you say righteous judgment when you say that instead of just judgment?
I guess it's because of the way that it's used in the Torah.
Okay.
Originally, shafat means to make a decision.
Mhm.
Later on, it means a judgment or a custom. Um, but originally, it comes from a decision. I guess if it's God's mishpatim, then it has to be righteous judgment, as opposed to skewed judgment.
So, but are they if this is, I'm assuming messianic, um, are they not saying that the Messiah was taken from being arrested or oppressed and
No,
from the judgment that they put on him?
no, he's exactly. See, that would be an unjust judgment that was put on him. It is from proper righteous judgment that he was taken. Because if he were judged righteously, truly, then he would have been acquitted and set free. But it was a kangaroo court.
Mm-hmm.
Half of the Sanhedrin wasn't there, and everyone there had an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
They already knew the verdict. They were just trying to find the evidence or manufacture the evidence. So it was not mishpat. It was, what's a good word to describe a crooked court? It was corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
but anytime we see anytime I can't think of an exception where the word mishpat refers to correct and righteous judgment, never referring to skewed judgment.
Okay.
Lukach is a pu'al, 3ms pu'al. He was taken. He was not just taken, lakach, but pu'al in intensively removed, taken away. Ve'et doro mi yisochayach, and his dor generation, who can declare, who can speak of it. In modern Hebrew, a sicha is a conversation,
Mhm.
but lisocheach has more to do with more than just like gabbing. Like, for example, we see David talking about crying out in anguish to the Lord using this verb. So it's like it's discussing, but I have something to tell you, please listen. So who is doing that action about his generation? I have a tough question. What word pattern does door belong to? Let's start with an easier question. What is the root?
is it Dalit race race? No.
There's no way we would know, is it? Yes, there would.
Dalit
If it were
Yod.
Dalit Resh Resh, I think we would know.
We would say the
Mhm.
gesh and the resh.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess we could look to other Semitic languages and see if they have this word. There are other Semitic languages that still duplicate resh and ayin, and they have no problem with that, but Hebrew does. What if it is a what if it was originally this right here?
Daver,
Daur.
Dower.
Yeah, because Vav was originally a W sound. What does Hebrew do with with AW sounds? Daur. It turns them into O's. So this could theoretically be a seglet that turned into Dov. Okay, let me ask a different one. What pattern could this be? Now it's not Roach, it's Ruach. What if it came from, what if it also is a seglet like this? Then what would Hebrew do with an U sound with a Vav? It would simply turn it into a Shuruk. So I don't think I can prove this, but I believe that Dor is a seglet of the A variety, an A class vowel seglet, and this one is an U class vowel seglet. But the Vavs and the Yods, they cause problems. Anyway, it's something to think about, but and I guess I'm kind of trailing away from what we should be discussing. My apologies. This has been a fascinating journey of discovery for me, trying to figure out the original patterns of words, especially because Hebrew modifies the pattern when certain gutturals or weak letters get in the way. And so anyway, that's just me yammering. The et doro, and his generation, probably referring to his descendants, offspring, something like that. Mi yisocheach. Why? Because he must have been cut off. And that's exactly what it's about to say. Ki nigzal. Is that a nifal? Mm-hmm. In Hebrew, if
Yes.
you want to say someone cut something with scissors, you use gazal.
It was, yeah. It's Nifal.
Interestingly, though, we have the word gezer. What's the word gezer?
Carrot.
A carrot. And in fact, there's a location in Israel called Gezer.
Mhm.
Like the it was the Gezer tablet. Okay.
There's a tell there. There's a
Oh,
dig.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But there's
So,
also a settlement there now too. Yeah.
all right. Nigzal, he was cut off me'eretz chayim, from the land of the living. Mipesha'ami, from or because of the transgression of my people. Negalamo. Nega is a a um not a plight. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a like the
Critical.
A
what is it?
plague?
Yeah. Let's go with that. Plague. Like the plague or the I'm thinking of in the desert when Israel was stricken with a I didn't think it was called a plague. Yeah, I guess it was called a plague, wasn't it?
Hmm.
And then Aaron stayed the plague when he brought his censer. Okay, plague, good. So he was, um, this technically, is that a verb? No,
It looks like a noun.
it's a seglet.
Yes.
So this should be translated as plague, not as he was stricken.
Mhm.
A plague. Now here's a nominal sentence in which we can supply the verb was lamo. Now,
To him.
lamo, yeah, what do we do with this? Is this lahem or is it
Mm.
lamo to is it to them or to him?
It's to him. It's another form of it though that we're not used to.
What is it in Exodus 8? Or what
Is it
what
to,
was it in Psalms? Lama will always refers to them.
Mm.
to them?
So we would basically have to ignore this mem in order for it to become lo, or we would have to come up with a secondary definition for this word that means to him. I suppose we could go back to the Septuagint, and if it says to him, then that would provide a lot of evidence that we're looking at a secondary form of a 3ms suffix as opposed to a 3mp. But
So
usually when
this,
we see an amu, it's 3mp. Go ahead, Tuesday.
so you're saying this is translated, should be translated, he was a plague to them?
A plague to them. Um, well, what I'm trying to say is that we have options. I'm not trying to go any one direction. Okay.
Ah,
I'm looking for options. So what are our options? If that's a 3ms, then you could say a plague, he was to him, or a plague was to him. Or you could say a plague was to them, maybe because he was stricken and cut off. Or I don't know that you could necessarily say that he was a plague unto them, but that would be an interesting way to read it. A plague
You say upon, like la, and like maybe a shortened L,
no,
belonging to,
no. The lamed here is either going to be to, for, or belonging to, showing intention, maybe. This is intended for sort of a thing. It's got to be dative. Uh, and I don't think all does a good job of showing that.
Okay, so to him or to them, that's the question.
To him or to them, and in what way exactly? Make sure that when you all read this, this is Yisochayach and not Shin. Yisochayach. Oh, what binyan does this belong to?
Mm.
Both?
Is it a PL?
All right, it is PL, but it's a special form of PL that gets a name of its own.
Holel?
Mhm. Polel. Polel is the form of PL that's used for exactly two groups of words. Either the geminate roots, like this one, where the chet is doubled, or hollow roots, like mishorer. Oh, mishorer. What's the root of mishorer?
Sheen, Resh?
Shir.
Oh,
So this one is from a hollow root, and this one is from a geminate root. Those are the only two groups of roots that you will see showing up in the polel, and its passive would be polal.
oh,
But but properly speaking, they are forms of PL and PUAL, respectively. They're just specialized forms. And yes, it does also occur in the hit pa'el. If you get either a geminate or hollow root in the hit pa'el, it will become hit polel. And Hebrew is the only Semitic language that has polel, polal, and hit polel. So very little is known about the development of this odd form. So yay! All right, who would like to? I think that's it. Who would like to read the next verse?
I want to just
I'll
make one
read.
comment.
Oh, Tim, sorry, go ahead.
A couple observations were fantastic in this passage. And I want to point out that Dor, I want to double down on your extension of the word Doro, because in Genesis 6:9, this word is used um, in the generations of Noah, but generations is used twice in the English, but it's two separate words. So this isn't referring to the lineage, but rather a space in time. And this play on words I see when the question was asked about mishpat, judgment, you have righteous and unrighteous judgment. Because in his generation, in his space of time, there was unrighteous judgment as well as a righteous judgment. So by the oppression of the unrighteous judgment in his period of time, but you can also read it as righteous judgment, and he was taken by the Father as the most holy on earth. It's a fascinating play on words if you look at it that way. Um, uh, what was the other thing? I would just want to point out this is kind of a nerdy thing to say, but in the BHS Masora, there's 66 chapters in Isaiah, and virtually every chapter has a ketiv, and 53 has no ketiv. There is not one ketiv in 53. There's only a handful that do not have it. This is one of them. And
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Eileen, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I wanted to read.
Okay. All right. And let's see, go forward one. All right, go ahead.
Vayet tehen
Vayitin.
vayeten et rosh berosh
Reshaim.
reshaim ke o
Hivro.
kevro ve'et ayishvir
Ashir.
hashir be beme av
Bemotav.
bemota
Mhm.
al lo ha ha meso
Alo Hamas asa.
o al lo Hamas nasa
Asa.
velo mir
Mirma.
mirma be banai
Bafiv.
bifi
Yeah, Bafiv. Vayiten et Reshaim kivro. ואת עשיר במותיו, על לא חמס עשה, ולא מרמה בפיו. All right, Vayiten, and literally he gave, he put, he set, et Rishaim, he put the wicked, kivro, his, that's not engrave, I don't know why that's there, his grave, kever. This is another segelet. That's a kittul form segelet, whatever. His kever. So we need to put some sort of a word in there to make it make sense. He set the wicked as his grave. The et ashir. Wait. That's it. Isn't just the direct object, is it? It could also be
No,
with.
it's with.
So he put or made his grave
With.
as Rishaim. That makes a lot more sense. There we go. And that's how the okay, that's better. The et ashir, and with the rich, b'motav, in his moat. Now, Motav is interesting to me because there's a yod right there. It should be moto, singular, his death. All right. If there's a yod right there, doesn't that make it plural? Huh. I don't know what to say about that. Al lo Hamas asa, upon or based upon, no violence he did. Velo mirma, and no. This reminds me of the root for rebellion. They're calling it deceit. Befiv, in his mouth. So he wasn't deceitful. He committed no violence. But nevertheless, he's being put to death. Okay. Comments on this? Well, Risha'im, Risha, Sha'ashir. No. Any comments on this? Who wants to read next?
I'll read.
All right, go ahead, Tuesday.
Vadonai Hafetz Dako Hecheli Im Tasim Asham Nafsho Yir'e Zera Ya'arich Yamim Vehefetz Adonai Biyado Yitzlach.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Vadonai Chafetz Dakao. Hecheli. This is not the word holy, sickness, but it sure does look like it, doesn't it? Looks like the same root. Hecheli. Hechel. Is this supposed to be a he feel? Adonai Chafetz Dakao Hecheli. Hechel. Wow. I want to look that up and see if that's parsed as a he feel because of the heche right there. Right? I wouldn't have expected this as a definite article, but I would expect a hey with two I vowels and then a chirik yod in he feel with a missing yod of the root. What? So causing holy, causing grief or sickness or ailment or something like that. Daka means to like dikayon is depression in modern Hebrew. So it has to do with pressing or bruising or something like that. And O says it's being done to him. The Lord is pleased in his bruising. Hecheli, he caused holy to him. He caused grief or ailment. Im tasim asham nafsho, when, tav there, she or you shall put or set asham. Asham is to be guilty for something. I am Ashem, or he was Asham Nafsho, his soul. Yeah, it's interesting. Asham is an offering for sin, isn't it? If it's a state of being verb, it should be Ashem.
Isn't it the trespass or guilt offering?
Guilt offering. Yeah, guilt offering. If somebody stands before the judge, he'll ask, Hashem, are you guilty? He said, Lo Hashem. So that's the word for guilt, and therefore guilt offering, nafsho. So his soul is as an asham. Yir'e zera, he shall see his seed or offspring. Ya'arich yamim, he shall cause prolonging of his days. V'chefetz Adonai, in the pleasure of the Lord, biyad yitzlach, or biyado yitzlach, in his hand yitzlach, Tzalach has to do with being successful and prospering.
Jared, why there are no suffixes on offspring and days, zera and yamim?
I wonder if it's the one that is crushed and bruised that is the subject. The one who is the now essentially the Messiah shall see offspring, and Messiah shall prolong days.
Days. So you really don't need, I mean, I know
I don't
most
know.
translations add it,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's not there.
it depends on who's the one that's doing the action. What if it is Adonai who's doing the action? Then we have to ask, well, whose offspring? Whose days? So we're looking at it two different ways, and this translator obviously sees it as the second way, where Yod He Vav He is the one doing the action,
Mm-hmm.
and the Zera belongs to the one who has been bruised. But what if it is the other way around, where this is the one doing the action and this is the one who is prolonging days?
And then you've got im tasim asham nafsho, and then it goes into third person, but that's a second person. Im tasim asham
Right.
nafsho. If you shall make his soul a sin offering, then he shall see his seed lengthen of days. So
All right, let me offer let me offer something. If we have Tasim as either 2MS or 3FS,
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
where's the 3FS? Where's the 2MS? Who's the subject?
His soul,
Nefesh is feminine, right?
yes,
So what if this is our subject,
his
this is our
soul,
verb, and this
your
is
name.
the object?
Okay.
His soul puts for an
Sin
offering.
offering.
Guilt
Yeah, that makes sense.
guilt
So
offering, and then
that would be a 3FS tav, not a 2MS tav. So
Hmm.
maybe that should be 3FS.
That's good.
Wow.
All right. Who would like to read next? We have two more verses.
I'll go.
All right, go ahead, Cheryl.
מעמל נפשו יראה יראה יספה בדעתו. יצדיק צדיק עבדי לרבים ועוונותם הוא יסבול.
Very good. Me'amal nafsho yir'e yisba bedato yatzdik tzadik avdi larabim va'avonotam hu yisbol. It would kind of help to know who the antecedent to each of these pronouns is, right? Who's doing the action here and here? Who's nefesh? Who's doing the action of yatzdik and yisba and yir'eh? Whose are they? Whose is my, right? So we have a 1CS, me, my servant. Them, the one whose iniquities are being borne. We have a bunch of yods here, right? 3MS yods. Both of these, 3MS yods. We have an O here, 3ms, and then a who, 3ms. So we have three different groups, right? At least. There's I, him, and them. Me amal nafsho. Well, we were just talking about someone whose soul it was. So from the anguish of his soul, he shall see and be satisfied. He shall be satisfied. So are these the same 3ms? Or is it Yod He Vav He who will see and be satisfied from the anguish of Messiah, his soul, the anguish of his soul? So we might have two 3MSs, but then what do we do with the one CS? All of a sudden it becomes my servant. So maybe it would be better that the Messiah's soul, he sees and is satisfied by the anguish of his soul. Wow, I don't know. B'da'ato, by his knowledge, it must be the same as nafsho. Yatzdik, tzaddik, he will justify the righteous. Avdi l'rabim. So this is the subject. Oops, Avdi is the subject who's doing the action of yatzdik. My servant will justify tzaddik, the righteous, to the many. What? I'm lost. And their iniquities, hu yisbol. He will bear their iniquities. That part's the clearest one. He is the 3ms who is bearing their iniquities. Man, what do we do with this? Tough, isn't it?
Mhm.
Well, for the first clause, may amal nafsho yir'e yisba. You have that prepositional phrase. In English, you're not going to find the subject in a prepositional phrase.
Good. No, I'm not saying that it is.
Oh,
I'm wondering who the subject of this yod and this yod is. So we've got may attached to a construct chain right here, but the O is simply pronominal. So just as this can refer to a 3ms, so can this refer to a 3ms. Oops, that's a 3ms. It could be referring to the same individual, but I'm not saying that the word nafsho is the subject, but I'm saying that his soul and he shall see can refer to the same individual.
It can, did you say?
Yeah, of course. It could
Yeah.
either refer to two 3MSs, he the Messiah and he Yod He Vav He, or it can refer to a single 3MS, probably Messiah, but just because of the anguish of his soul. Yes, technically it could also refer to Yod He Vav He if Yod He Vav He is anguishing of his soul. I don't know. So we have to decide, is it referring to one 3MS individual or is it referring to multiple 3MS individuals?
well, how can you have multiple 3MS individuals? I'm just asking.
Well, we have Tim and Jared in the same conversation here, and he's a 3MS and I'm a 3MS. In the same way,
Oh.
I is 3MS and Yod He Vav He is 3MS. So there's ambiguity as to which one is referring to which one, unless someone explicitly states who the subject is. Yeah. So Avdi is 3MS. We know exactly who that is. Who is 3MS? Not really sure who it is. Hopefully it's referring back to Avdi. And if we saw Yod He Vav He, that's explicitly 3MS and we know who it is. But when we have verbs with no explicit subject, we have to try to figure it out. We have to wrestle with the text.
But in
Well, we have-
context with the other texts that we've read already.
Look,
What
we're
did you
going to have
say?
to go back. Go ahead, Tuesday.
You said when we have verbs with no subject, is that what you said?
No, with no explicit subject. Every verb has an implicit subject. Like when I say Yod, I know it has to be some 3MS individual. I just explicitly which individual that is. Whereas in this verse, the only explicit subject I have is still a 3MS pronoun, so it doesn't really help me. But if I had, for example, Yod He Vav He does the action of Yir'eh. I can look at the word yir'eh and say, oh, look, it's a 3ms. I know that. Oh, look, Yod He Vav He is right next to it, and I know that's also 3ms, so I can deduce that he's the subject and this is the verb. So this is our explicit subject. The Yod is our implicit subject, or built-in subject, I like to call it. So without an actual explicit subject, sometimes it's hard to know, well, who's doing this action?
I see what you're saying. So all we have is
All we have is a
two.
Yods.
Yes. So
And
we have to look at context.
figure out who's the subject.
Or I guess if we just look at this verse, it could be servant, right?
I would, yeah. So I would say servant is most definitely referring to this and therefore this, but I can't be 100% certain that the servant is also being referred to in each and every one of these 3ms references. Maybe it's Yod He Vav He who is seeing and being satisfied by his, that is the servant's, anguish of soul.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're not always left with satisfactory answers, are we? And that's probably the point. To keep us, I don't want to say guessing, but keep us involved, invested, engaged. All right, this is the last verse of the chapter. Who wants to read it?
I can read.
Annie, go ahead.
לכן אחלק לו והאבים ואת עצומים יחלק שלל תחת אשר חררה למוות נפשו ואת פושעים נמנע והוא חטא אבים נשא ולפושעים יפגיע.
Yeah, very good. And I hope you guys aren't sick of this. I'm totally enthralled by the subject of patterns. We see the word mavet, which tells us that its original form was this, maut. But in pronominal suffixed form, it shows up as moto, like this. See how the maut became mot? This is the same analogy I was using earlier with dor and a possible original daur. So this would be an A-class seglet that turned into dor, much like this A-class seglet turned into mot. Anyway, לכן אחלק לו ורבים, ואת עצומים יחלק שלל, תחת אשר הארה למוות נפשו. Wow. I really would have expected mot nafsho. ואת פושעים נמנע, that's a nifal, והוא חטא רבים נשא, ולפושעים יפגיע. Wow, that is terse and hard to read. What binyan is achalek?
Yeah.
Right, there's a reduced vowel, patach dagesh, el. Chalek is a part or portion. So achalek, I will make into parts, I will divide, lo, to him, varabim, with the great, or
Many.
like his, or the many, okay. Ve'et atzumim, okay, great and many go together, those are parallel. Ve'et atzumim yechalek, he will divide. Shalal, the spoil. With the great and the many he shall divide the spoil. Tachat asher, tachat. I thought tachat was under. Why does it say upon? Tachat asher is usually going to be something like for the established on the reason, because of this, like giving a reasoning for the statement. Tachat asher, no, under. No, instead of tachat.
Yeah.
Beneath.
Yeah, I mean, literally it means under.
Yes.
Exactly. So under that which, that introduces a relative clause. He'era lamavet nafsho. He'era, is that a he feel? Because of
Y-
because of the
Yes.
because of the he, it certainly looks like it, and so that means our root would have to be ein resh missing yod. And they translate it as he poured out. Okay. Lamavet, unto death, nafsho. Ah, so he poured out his soul unto death. So therefore, this is our pronominal phrase. It's pronominal. Stop it. Prepositional phrase, and that it is not in construct. He did this unto that. He poured out his soul unto death. There we go. Ve'et posheim, and with the transgressors, nimna. He was numbered. Nifal 3ms. V'hu chet rabim, and he, the sin of the many, nasa, he bore. So there's our subject, there's our verb, and there's the object. Vela posheim, and to the transgressors, yafgia. And there's that word again. He caused touching or striking. So making intercession. Okay. He approached. No, like nagia. That's a different word. Naga, to approach. Paga. Man, why am I thinking paga has to do with striking? I don't know. Comments on
Can
this?
we look that word up?
Yeah, let's do it. So this is the end of Isaiah 53. And go to the end. Here's Yafgia. Let's go ahead and click on that and look over at the dictionary definition. In the Kal, it means to meet, join, encounter, fall upon, strike, touch. Okay. But in the he feel, entreat, make attack, to reach the mark. Well, this is he feel, so how are we supposed to translate this, right? What I really want to know is how often the he feel shows up in the Bible. I wonder if I can look that up here. Wait, where did it go? Ah, so I want to look up the root. Okay, let's look up
Okay.
the root naga. No, paga, but that's the absolute form. What? Maybe it doesn't show up in the absolute. Yeah, there it does. Okay, so that's 6293. 6293. Stop. Why is that not working? 6293. There, that now it works. All right, now we can find the Heath eel form. Okay, that's a he feel, for example. Okay, so I'll put in he feel right here. Oh, that's not he feel. There we go. Now, if we really want to know where all this shows up in the Bible, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, only 6 he feels show up in the Bible? Stop. Where do they show up? Shows up in Job, Isaiah, our Isaiah 53, Jeremiah, another Jeremiah. There's the other Isaiah 53, Isaiah 59, and that's it. So it only shows up in the he feel in these verses. That doesn't give us much to work with, does it? Bummer.
Which chapter in Job was that?
Let's see, 36, 32.
Oh, interesting.
Job 36, 32. Job is going to be like the hardest place to go to find out what a word means, in my opinion. Job 36, 32. Let's go ahead and look at the English with it. Maybe it can help us. Al kapayim,
Makes it to strike.
with the hands, kisa'ol, he covers the light. Vaitzav aleha, and he commands upon her, b'mafgia, to strike the mark. Okay.
Mm.
Where was the other one? It was in Jeremiah, right? 36:25.
Said that there was two in Jeremiah.
Yes, there are two in Jeremiah. And so let's see, where is this one?
There.
Ifgi'u. Okay, but these guys,
Have
Ifgi'u
pleaded.
with the king. You see that? Ifgi'u melech. They Ifgi'u
Pleaded.
with the king that he should not burn the scroll. Chances are they weren't wrestling him down. He's the king. So that means, yeah, they were like pleading with the king. Okay. And then the other one in Jeremiah, 15:11.
True. Otherwise, true.
Hifgati. There it is showing up again. Entreat. The Lord said, truly, I will not free you for good. Letov, for the purpose of good. Truly, I will cause the enemy to entreat you, to lure you in the time of evil and in the time of distress.
Entreat, isn't that beg?
Um,
Treat you.
I would agree with you.
Intercede.
Intercede.
Okay, intercede, yeah. I guess that makes sense from the last context, right? Where they're interceding with the king or something. It's like, no,
Yeah.
we're interceding for this scroll. Don't burn it.
Intercede.
Okay, so then if we go back to Isaiah 53, one of them was in 12 and the other was 6. Was that it?
Elot 12 and I
Okay,
forgot.
so here's 6, and all we like sheep have gone astray. Okay, here we go. And the Lord made meet him, or made meet in him the iniquity of all. Okay, so he caused the what? This is the same thing as earlier with the king burning the scroll. Hifgia o, entreating him et avon kulanu. Hold on a second. So the king wanted to burn the scroll, and all these guys did the action of Hifgia for the purpose or for the sake of the scroll. And now we see Adonai doing the action of Hifgia for him,
Striking him, right?
but then we get this et avon kulanu. Is it the avon kulanu that I don't know. This is fascinating. There just isn't enough evidence. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. 6 usages in the whole Bible of a he feel of paga, and it's just not enough.
Well, in this verse, in this passage, there is a lot of striking going on with other verbs.
Mm-hmm. Wait a second. Where's 12? Isn't there a verse 12? Yeah, right here.
Yeah, that's the one we were using.
This is the other one. No. Here it is. Yafgia. For the for the transgressors, yafgia, he did the action of Hethio Paga, which it says
And
made
made
intercession,
session
which
with
is what
those.
we saw with the scroll and the king. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, we made it
Awesome.
to the end. Woohoo! Next week there is no class because I'm going to be traveling. In 2 weeks, we will pick back up with the regularly scheduled Haftarah. So that will be Ki Tavo. So look forward to that in 2 weeks. Want to wish you all a blessed rest of your week and see you next time. Lehitraot. Shalom.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Shalom.
Thank you, Leitra.